You're listening to the Real Estate Proverbs Podcast with host Kevin Jefferson. This is the #1 podcast for African American real estate professionals who are doing extraordinary things. It's time to tune in. And now, your host, the People's Lender, Kevin Jefferson.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Real Estate Proverbs. I'm your host, Kevin Jefferson, and today we have a very, very special guest, Miss Chantelle Owens. How are you, Chantelle?
I'm awesome. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Big Pockets. Doing great. Chantelle, tell us a little bit about who you are.
Well, I like to think of myself as just a, down home person. A lot of people have branded me Tax Lien Queen. I made my career and living and net worth through tax lien investing. But I've been a real estate investor for 23 years now. So that's what I've done full time over the last 23 years. So right now I'm on vacation. So I enjoy, like you said, working hard and playing hard. So that's just a little something about me.
That's good. Where are you originally from?
I am originally from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And I left Milwaukee when I was 19. So I've been in Atlanta since then.
Okay. So what brought you to Atlanta?
Well, I was in the military and decided that I wanted to move from the unit I was in Wisconsin to a unit here in Georgia. And, like a lot of people, I attended Freaknik, around 92. And so by 93, I was living in Atlanta. So, I got excited about that and just began to transition my life into living there.
Gotcha. So when you moved to Atlanta, were you still in the military or were you out of the military?
I was still in the military. I was in the Army Reserves.
Okay.
Yeah. So the year that I visited, I was in active duty at that time, and then I became reservist, and then from there, moved to Atlanta.
Wow. So first of all, thank you for your service.
Thank
you. Grateful to have you. I always try to tell veterans, thank you, because it takes a special person to join the military. So I appreciate
That's
it.
That's funny because I always get that. You don't seem like you would have been in the military. I always get that. So, I'm like, well, it's all kind of people that, protect this country. So.
Right. One of my best friends, he was in the military. And if you didn't know him, you would have never thought he would have went either. So I can definitely understand that. So let's dive into it. You said that they dubbed you the Tax Lien Queen. Tell us how you got that name and why.
Well, Ramon Tukes is the first person I remember calling me that. And ironically, for a couple of years, I just let other people call me that and didn't really feel comfortable calling myself that, not because I wasn't an expert in tax liens, but I'm just I'm a modest person. Most people don't know that I'm somewhat shy and introverted, because I'm a speaker, a teacher. But, when I'm just chilling, I'm just like everybody else. But they gave me that name because, tax liens is a specialized industry. Not many people dabble in it, and definitely not many people specialize in it. So, as people begin to, hear about me as I started teaching, it was nobody else in that lane. And so, they begin to, call me that. So I take it and claim it now and call myself that now.
Oh, that's awesome. I remember we met 2018 at Wealth Builders. And
yes.
we had tables next to each other. And I don't think you were calling yourself that back then, were you?
No, I was not.
Oh, okay.
That's that amazing. Was really when I really kind of decided to really teach tax liens, because before then people would just ask me to come and teach here and there, but that's kind of when I really just made the decision on my own that this was something that I wanted to do, and haven't looked back with that. So no, at that time I was not.
Wow. So I know that I've seen the growth, like from when I met you in 2018, and you said that you had some things on the horizon. A lot of people say it, but I've actually watched you do it over the last 3 years. So I definitely want to commend you on it.
Thank you.
What made you niche down in the tax liens? Like, what specifically did you stumble upon it, or was it something you had been researching?
It stumbled on me, actually. I actually had some property that went into the tax sale. The property itself was being foreclosed on. It was during the market crash of 2008. And the bank was actually foreclosing on the property, because I wasn't able to, keep up with it. And it went into the tax sale. And, once I understood how tax sales work, I was able to redeem that property. And what was intriguing to me was that the person that purchased that property purchased it for $2,100. And had I not redeemed the property, they would have been able to get that property free and clear for $2,100. And mind you, I had a mortgage on it. And as I began to understand and learn that their tax lien would have wiped my mortgage out. And so that not only would they have owned that property, they would have removed all those liens that were existing on the property. And so I was intrigued, and I was like, I think this is it right here. And so after I went through the process in reverse engineered it, I knew how it worked. And so I just went out and started investing in tax liens. And at that time, there weren't many classes in tax lien investing. So I had to do a lot of trial and error, lose money to really figure out things. And eventually I found my way. And around the time I found my way, I started seeing people offer classes on tax liens. And so I started, taking other people's classes as well. And then probably about 6 years in is when I really created a system that allowed me to take advantage and then create significant wealth in the next 3 years with everything I had learned in that first, 6 years.
Wow. So when the tax lien stumbled upon you and you've decided, let me do a little research, what year was this? Was it before or after the crash?
I was in 2008.
2008. So
I
right
bought
during
my
the
first
crash.
tax lien property in 2009.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I redeemed the property that went into the tax sale in 2009. And then a couple months after that, I purchased my first tax lien property.
Wow. So in terms of tax lien properties, is it as simple as people think on YouTube, that you just go to the court steps and you buy a property cheap and then you walk away and then you got it a year later? They try to make it seem like it's that easy.
Yes and no. So in theory, it does work exactly like that. But in terms of labor hours, work, and the effort that goes into it, no. And this is why you don't see a lot of tax lien investors, because it is labor intensive. And, there's a lot of legalese and, things that you have to know it's a lot of variables that you have to make sure are in place. And really, that's no different than any other area of real estate, but it's just a little bit more law complicated things that you have to know. So I wouldn't say it's as easy as that, but once you have a property under your belt, it does feel as easy as that, because once you get that property, you are a lot further ahead than most people would be when they purchase property, because you typically will have gotten that property for pennies on the dollar, and then you're typically going to end up owning it outright. So by the time you finish that process, it may have taken you, a year and a half to do it, but you still would be ahead of, somebody who had purchased, the same property, through another means.
Gotcha. So walk me through the process. I know you don't have to go every single step, but just walk me through the basic steps of what you would do if you saw a property coming up on a sheriff's sale or tax sale.
So I will say that is really kind of how most people think is in terms of a property. But the way the tax sale works is that if you focus on one property, you're probably not going to get it. So you have to focus on multiple properties in volume, right? But how it typically works is the county will publish the tax sale list, and then you as the investor, you get that list and research the properties, and then do your due diligence, your research, and create a bid list. And then when you go to auction, you would bid, the highest bidder wins. And then after that, depending on what state you're in, is what's going to determine what happens next. So in Georgia, after you win, you would have to wait a year. And during that year, what you're waiting on is that the original homeowner or anybody who has an existing lien on the property can come back and pay you what you paid at auction plus 20%. So
Wow.
let's say if you win a $10,000 bid, somebody wants to redeem, they would have to pay you $10,000 plus 20%, so $2,000. If not, on a year and a day, you can begin a foreclosure process to stop their right to come back and redeem. So that's called a foreclosure on the right to redeem. And then once you've completed that process, anybody who had a right to the property, their rights would no longer exist.
So what happens if that property has a mortgage on it?
So during the foreclosure process, you would foreclose on the mortgage company as well, because the tax lien is it supersedes the mortgage. So that gives you the right to foreclose. And so as you're foreclosing on the mortgage company would have a right to redeem as well. So they could come and pay you what you paid at auction plus the interest. If they don't do that, then their claim to the property or rights to the property are terminated.
So when you so when you go through a group and look at a group of properties, you win the bid on 123 Main Street. Your goal is always to get the property and not necessarily the profits from the property. Is that right?
Not necessarily. When I first started out, that was the goal, because I wanted to build a real estate portfolio. But as you build a real estate portfolio, and that's under your belt, now if you have capital, you can invest and get the interest. And so for me now, that is more attractive than the property.
So you're out to win every property that you can in order to either A, get the profits or to obtain the property.
Yes.
Gotcha. Do you ever sell the properties or do you hold on to all of them?
So if I'm getting the interest, then they come and redeem, so I'm not able to sell. But with the properties that the goal is to actually get the property, no, I don't sell those properties. I actually hold them in a rental portfolio, because that's ultimately how I take care of myself, is through a rental portfolio that
Awesome.
I acquired through tax liens.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And so do you manage all of those properties?
I don't. I have a property manager.
I.e., while you're on vacation, huh? End of the month, you're on
Yes.
vacation.
Yes, but I did self-manage for many years.
How many properties do you have? You can just give me an estimate.
Enough.
Enough. That's the answer I hear all the time.
You know, it's funny because you know, most of the people that I know that have a significant amount of properties, we talk about this a lot. We forget how many properties we have. Like we don't keep up with that number because it changes. You know, even though I don't sell properties, you know, I own properties with other people as well, because early on in my career, in tax lien investing, I didn't have the capital to buy properties on my own. So I would joint venture with people. So, you know, most of those people have the controlling interest in those properties. And so they may decide to sell or whatever. So, you know, it changes, but you know, it's significant.
AKY, we
I
call
always
you.
tell people, when you're dealing with tax liens, you could own 5 properties and you would be in a great position. You could own 10 and be, you know, 10 properties that you purchased from the tax sale could easily bring you $10,000 a month. So you don't have to own a lot of properties.
Right.
But I own 1 or 2.
Okay, we get it. I get it. Say no more. And I guess you don't need an abundance of them because they're cash flowing, because you typically don't have a mortgage on it, right?
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And the reason why I don't, you know, early on when I started teaching, my students would look my properties up, and I just found that was so eerie, you know, and you know, I had to really, you know, teaching is really what helped me to get my estate in order, you know, asset protection and all that, because I was scared, like, why are they looking at my properties? You know, are they gonna sue me? And, you know, like just stuff like that. I was like, ooh, you know, so and then I had to make it so people couldn't, you know, look up my entities, know that I own them, and look up my properties and stuff like that. So just really out of privacy, I just, you know, was like, wow.
But that helped you protect your assets as well.
Yes,
probably in a better way.
Yes.
Yeah. So let's dig into 2 things. How would one fund a tax lien?
So that's a great question, because there is no traditional funding for tax liens. As you know, a person can't, you know, come in your office and say, can I, you know, get a mortgage for a tax lien? It's just not happening. Also, hard money typically won't fund tax lien acquisition as well. So you really have to be creative. But the good thing is that with tax liens, the acquisition price is typically way lower than a property that you would buy outright on the market. So a lot of people will fund their tax lien purchases through their retirement accounts, or they'll find someone with a retirement account and, you know, either joint venture or you know, have that person give them a private money loan, so that person is making interest on that money. Early on, I've used credit cards, like a 0% interest credit card that I could get, but most of my initial properties came through joint ventures. And then I always tell people, with tax liens, you might be able to look in your checking or savings account and buy 1 or 2, because I literally have seen tax liens on the courthouse get sold for, you know, I bought a tax lien. My lowest tax lien was $700.
Wow.
You know, so you might be able to bankroll it yourself, you know, so just depending.
So let's talk about, you know, Georgia Tax Lien Bootcamp. Tell us a little bit more about the Georgia Tax Lien Bootcamp.
So Georgia Tax Lien Bootcamp is a real estate education platform. We primarily focus on tax liens. We teach people how to safely and confidently invest in tax liens, because we see people on the courthouse steps purchasing properties that they're not going to be able to do anything with those properties. And it's just really because of a lack of education that they don't understand what they're purchasing. So I created Georgia Tax Lien Bootcamp to educate people on this process, and really as a means to help, people become financially free. So that's our mission, is to help 1 million families become financially free through tax lien investing. And so, that's what we do. We have various level of courses. We have a free introductory course. So if you don't understand tax liens, you don't know how they work, you can at least get that basic understanding for free. It's a 3-hour class. We offer that as a CE for real estate agents as well. And then we have just where you can graduate. So we have a fast track boot camp, which is a 2-day boot camp. And when you leave that boot camp, you'll know everything you need to know to invest in tax liens. Then we have a 4-day boot camp, which it's the same information as the 2-day, but now you get a chance to be hands-on, and not only do you learn how to do it, but you actually do everything in class. And so we also take those students on a bus tour, and then we take them to auction. And then we have a master mentorship, which is a small intimate group where we do that cycle twice. And so these students get more hands-on and more personalized instructions from myself and my team. So that's pretty much what we do, but we have a lot of things coming up. One of my goals is to bring tax lien funding to the market. And really how I would planning to do that is creating a tax lien fund. And so, that's some of the things that we have coming. We have a digital course that we're working on. And so, we got a lot of things coming on the pipeline. I'm writing a book.
That's amazing.
I'm busy over here on vacation. So, yeah.
I definitely have seen your team grow as well. I think when we first met in 2018, it was just maybe you and 2 other people.
Yes.
And then definitely seeing you guys grow. So if someone, the class that you offer, is it just for the 3-hour class? Is it just for real estate agents, or is it for everybody?
It's for everybody. You don't have to have any experience in real estate. You don't have to be an agent, but you can be an agent. You can be a seasoned investor, because tax lien it's a secret industry. And so not many people have a lot of information on it. So even if you're a seasoned real estate investor, a lot of people still don't know about it. So it's really a class that's open to any and everybody. And our demographic does vary. We have, we've had, from 20 to, 80. And then, just geographically, we have students from all over the United States that take our class. And so we are, we welcome everyone.
Wow. So you're here in Georgia, and I know you're the Georgia Tax Lien Queen. If someone from another state, or when other people from other states take your class, how are you able to help them? Or tax liens basic everywhere, or each state varies?
Each state varies, but the type of tax lien, there's only 4 types of tax liens. So, we teach the foundation of each one of those, and then we do exercises in class so that students understand how to go into, not only if they live in a different state, but if they want to invest in a different state, how to go into that state and find the information that they need that applies to their state. So they'll have the foundation to do that, and then they'll just need the county logistics, in order to be able to function. And we, give them the recipe to be able to do that.
Wow. How often do they have tax sales in Georgia?
In Georgia, they don't mandate when counties have to have them, but they can have them once a month on the first Tuesday of the month. So some counties may have 1 or 2 only a year. And then other counties, have them almost every month, so there's no rhyme or reason, but the law in Georgia just says that, if the county wants to have it, they must have it on the first Tuesday of the month.
Wow. Wow. So how would somebody find out when the next sale is?
They basically would contact the county, but for the most part, the county is going to, where they have to post that information is in the legal paper or the legal organ of each county, where they post all legal notices. So they may post, like the paper that posts incorporations, foreclosures, divorce notices. They also post tax lien notices as well. So that's by law where you can find it. But most counties, they may have it on their website, or it's usually buried. You have to look, but for the most part, you'll be able to, if you're diligent, you can find it.
That little small eighth of a square in the newspaper, huh, at the bottom.
Yes.
Something I've always wondered well, I can ask you about you. In terms of actually purchasing tax liens, is it always homes, or is land included as well?
Anything is included in the tax sale. So if it's a parcel, it will be sold. So that includes vacant land. It includes commercial buildings. It includes residential. It includes, I've seen daycare centers, car dealerships, bakeries, restaurants, townhomes, condos, land, 22 acres, 0.5 acres. So, I've seen almost everything in the tax sale.
Wow.
Water, parcels, a whole lake, so if it has a parcel number and the taxes aren't paid, it could definitely be in the tax sale.
I guess so for me, I'm always intrigued by the tax sales, because I know from the conventional mortgage side, the taxes are escrowed into the mortgage. And when they're escrowed into the mortgage, the seller, not the seller, but the homeowner just sends the bill to the mortgage company and they pay the tax bill every month. So I'm always wondering how properties come up for tax sale when they've changed that system over years.
Yeah, so I get that question all the time. So one, there's still at least 50% of homes that, even though they have a mortgage on it, they don't have an escrow. Because as you know, if they didn't put that escrow requirement in at that time, they can't come back and later do that. And so there's still quite a few homes without that escrow requirement. But even still, what happens is that, over time, the bank has received its face value plus its amortization. So it really no longer cares about, what happens to the property. Not that they wouldn't want the money, but if it's in a neighborhood, they don't really, as you know, mortgage companies aren't in the business to own real estate. And so it may be more beneficial for them to just let the property go. In some cases, they may just have realized what's going on too late. It's a lot of red tape with mortgage companies. They may have sent a check and thought that they paid it, but they didn't pay the correct amount. It's so many ways that it happens. But more than likely, typically what happens on the majority is that the bank is just not interested in the property anymore. The person who holds the note has received their return on investment, and it would be a hassle for the bank to deal with that property, especially in what are called C and D neighborhoods. Now in A and B, they're probably gonna not, they're gonna go ahead and pay the taxes.
Got you. Just to protect their interests. And I guess, like you said, if it's a C or D neighborhood, we don't want to fool with it. So I get you. Mm-hmm. I get you. Mm-hmm. So in terms of, do you do any other kind of investing, or are you strictly tax liens?
I'm strictly tax liens.
Practice what you preach.
It's addicting. Yeah, I'm spoiled. What I can get a property for, I'm paying, 40 to 50% on the dollar. And then somebody here, they come with a 90% deal. It's like, no, thank you.
Wow. So in terms of your growth, like your book, is it going to be, and I know you can't tell everything because you haven't finished it yet, but is it going to be about your journey, or is it going to be about the journey of purchasing and starting your business as tax liens?
It's going to be both. It's going to tell how I became a tax lien investor, and then it's going to give, the information on, how to get started and, all that. So pretty much what we teach in our introductory class, but in a book.
Gotcha.
That way people will believe I know what I'm talking about.
Finally, huh? It's weird because I had never seen a course until yours came out. And then I guess maybe I just happened to start seeing courses, or maybe they start following you. I've seen a couple other people that say they were tax lien experts, but I had never heard of one until you. Always heard people talk about, go to the sheriff's sale and do this, but never anyone who educated the public on it and created a boot camp.
Yeah, because most tax lien investors don't want anybody else to know about it. As a matter of fact, a lot of them have asked me, why are you teaching people this? It's just already, starting to be too much competition. So nobody, when you have a good thing, a lot of people don't want other people to know about that good thing. But, I don't have that same mentality, so,
Got you. So I know you're on vacation. I don't take it lightly that you took time to be on the Real Estate Proverbs podcast. If someone wants to attend one of your classes, how do they sign up? Is it virtual or is it live?
Well, let me just move out the way. Look, I don't know which way to move. Look,
Yep,
okay,
right
so basically they would go to our website, introwebinar.gataxlienbootcamp.com. They could follow us on IG and then click the link in our bio, and it will take them right where they can register. We're also on Eventbrite, but we're on social media everywhere, so they definitely can just reach out to GA Tax Lien Bootcamp, and we always lead people to that introductory, because tax lien knowledge is cumulative. So you have to start and then build your way up. And so that's a requirement for us, is to start with that introductory class. And so anywhere you reach out to us, somebody will be able to help you and guide you on how to get registered.
Gotcha. One last question.
Sure.
Will we see a Georgia Tax Lien Clubhouse?
Hey, listen, so the first couple of days I was on Clubhouse, it was so addictive, but it's also very energy draining. You're on stage and just people asking you a lot of questions, and you almost don't have time to, rest in between the questions. And so, I had to step back like, whoa, okay, this is great. But so I'm talking to my team to see how we can figure out, maybe we get some rotation going on. But if I have to be the one on stage at all times, I'm not going to be able to do that. I'm choosing the things I want to do, because otherwise, becoming financially free is like, what was the purpose? So, I can't keep up the pace with that, but you'll definitely see me on there. And I have so much more information other than tax liens. So maybe I'll get on there and, just talk about that. I was thinking about creating a room and house room so I can, talk to people about that, and, how to get to 850 credit score, just other things that I could talk about. So I'll probably do some things like that,
Let me know if you need me to collaborate with you, because
Okay.
So I enjoy getting on, but I don't let it take my day or my time away from my family. Like I happened to be interviewing a guy last Thursday, and we were in a room together that morning, and I happened to pop on that like late in the afternoon, and they were still in there. So when we talked, I said, how long were you guys on Clubhouse? He said 7.5 hours. And I was like,
how did they do that?
I was like, how does anybody get any work done? Like, you know, the rooms I'm in are typically about finances, investing, you know, real estate, something like that. But I'm talking about they're in rooms for 6 and 7 hours on a daily. So I can't do it. Like, I like to listen, participate and ask my questions. I think it's a great platform, and I'm working on establishing a room specific to mortgages, and it's just going to be basically to educate people, but it'll only be capped at maybe an hour, hour and a half. Anything other than that, it's going to drain the heck out of me, because those 3-hour classes I teach drain me.
Yes, they are very, and that's what people don't understand, is that it's an energy exchange, and when it's all just take, it's like, whoa, hold up, let me, you know, give me a break 1 second, you know. And I had my last one I created was supposed to be a beginner's class, but they got in there asking advanced questions, and you know, when I get to talking, I forget, so I didn't really even, you know, kind of course correct that. And when I got off of that thing, I felt like I had done a 3-hour live in-person presentation. I was like, well, I'm gonna have to rethink that. And you know, it's hard because when you get on, like, I want to go into other people's classes and listen, and then I get all these pings. Somebody want me to join a class. I said, I'm gonna have to create a ghost account just so I could get into the classes I want to learn about. So I don't know, you know, I'm not even really a social media person, even though people think I am, because my team is always on social media doing stuff, but it's too consuming for me. You know, I got things that I'm thinking about, how to get this done, that done. So long story short, you know, we're working on a way that we could create a clubhouse that doesn't consume me and, you know, have me feeling drained. So like this I can do all the time because it's an energy exchange. We're talking, but just me talking at people, I just can't do that for a long period of time without feeling like I've been zapped. So
the night I had my class, I think I went through like 3 bottles of water. I heard you one night, you said, man, I'm thirsty.
And it was so funny, as I speak, you know, I'm on stage or teaching, and I guess I'm sipping water, so I never thought about it, but that was just, woof. So,
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome, Chantelle. I appreciate your time. Once again, just tell us how we can get a hold of you on social media.
At GA Tax Lien Bootcamp. That's everywhere, you on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. You can find us, you know, everywhere. TikTok, and you know, Clubhouse. It's Tax Lien Queen. Okay. So you can find me as at Tax Lien Queen on Clubhouse. So, but thanks, Kevin, for having me. I appreciate it. You know, we got our inside joke, so thanks. Big pockets, big money. I appreciate it.
No, I appreciate your time. I look forward to doing some collaborations together this year.
Yes, just let me know. All right, thank you.
All right, have a good
night.
All right, bye-bye.